Hey, did you know Americans stop or prevent a violent crime 1 to 3 million times per year with a gun? Millions. That's right. Studies from Florida State and the CDC and the Crime Prevention Research Center shows that guns are used to protect life 25 times more than often when they are used to take life 25 times. And that estimate is on the low side. And if you believe the good people deserve the best tools to defend themselves and their families, then you should be a member of the San Diego County Gun Owners. San Diego County Gun Owners makes it easy to connect with the community that fights to defend and restore your Second Amendment right. Become a member today. It's only $10 a month. Go to SDCGO.org/join to become a member today.
What's up, everybody?
Let's kicking, brother.
What happened to our? What do we like? I leave you guys alone for 2 weeks. You guys totally rearranged the studio.
You didn't even know you left.
Oh, there was so much that happened.
Did he leave?
What? Welcome back.
How dare?
Yeah. Where's our comic?
We lost a desk. We lost microphones.
We lost all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
What'd you lose?
It's
You
a
got
fire
everything?
sale.
You got everything.
How cool was the gun show?
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, because let's face it, none of us really knew what to expect.
True. But do we ever?
No, but
do we ever know what to expect?
I was impressed, and I think I complained just a tad about the layout until after I left you and started walking around, and then it was actually kind of nice.
That kind of made sense.
Well, because every area was a different area. You could go here for a while, then you go there for a while. Where out at Del Mar, everything was right there.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get up close to look at whether it be lowers or weapons or anything. You couldn't do it. And very good job on KUSI Saturday night.
Thank you.
And I think what I took away from it that most people I think did as well, because you really, really, really emphasized it, is that you can buy a gun at a gun show just like you can buy a gun at a gun store.
Yeah.
There's still the 10-day waiting list.
Right.
Pick out your gun, do your paperwork, because the other side's always saying, "Oh yeah, they're selling them under the table, and you can get a howitzer." And
I got into an argument with a producer at PBS, local KPBS.
Well, are you surprised?
No.
Well, I mean, she's a smart, educated woman. She's not an idiot or whatever. And she got into an argument. She refused to believe. This was years ago, probably.
I
6,
thought
7
this
years
was like
ago.
Thursday.
No, it was about 6, 7 years ago. She refused to believe me that all the laws are the same at gun shows. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, I said, does it make any sense that laws that are put in place and then they disappear at a gun show? I mean, does that even make logical sense to you? And she was like, I'll call you back. Oh. And she called me back like an hour later. She's like, okay, it looks like maybe, And I realized, oh my gosh, people actually think that, you step into this gun show and suddenly laws just disappear.
Ooh, the curtains come
down.
down.
I'm like, just think through that logically. But it's an example of what you can do with messaging if you do messaging the right way. And the other side got the messaging right, and now they've scared everybody.
Yeah. Well,
I say they got it right. They got it right by getting it completely wrong.
Well,
but
it's like the first commercial I do for San Diego County Gun Owners.
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard that statistic on TV?
Well, if you listen to me, I say it every single time.
I know.
I try to work that in every single interview, but because it is so important. So,
how many people don't believe you, though? What do you think?
It's surprising. Even gun owners don't believe. They kind of go, well, and I'm like, well, wait. And when you first give the statistic we're talking about is between 1 million and 3 million times per year someone uses a gun in self-defense.
Right.
What they initially, when you hear that, you think, wait a minute, 1 million to 3 million people
I thought.
shot somebody? No. That's not what we said.
No.
It's between 1 million and 3 million times they use a gun to prevent or stop a crime, a violent crime.
And when you told me that, I thought of my buddy that, I would never go up against this guy, 6'5", all tattooed, goes into a 7-Eleven, gets us something to drink, coming out, some guy takes a knife and sticks it in the window of his car.
Jeez.
And he reaches down, he pulls out his 45. He says, "You really want to go here?"
When
and the
did
guy
this
took
happen?
off.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't. I'd have peed my pants.
Is it an added bonus?
Yeah, what?
Alicia, what did you think? What did you see? You did a good job, by the way. You gave a seminar on awareness, right?
Situational awareness, correct.
The only thing I noticed, I think that the seminar area was too small.
Yeah. Well, overall, I think we did the best we could with
Yeah.
area we
But
had.
I think
But
the
there's a
seminar
lot of
could have
room
had more
for,
capacity.
It could, there's always room to grow and to improve, right?
Well, this
but
was the first one.
It was the first. But it was great. I love the way that you guys had, there was a plan, there was a schedule, there were speakers, there were, and Rich did a great job. He'd walk around and he'd kind of announce and let everybody know because the speakers were in a separate area from the actual show itself.
Well, because that's what I told him. I says, it took me a while to find you guys. And he said, well, didn't you see all the signage? Yeah, one sign.
No,
there's a couple.
I know.
Well, I gotta say, Rich did it. Rich took this whole thing over, man.
Absolutely.
I know.
He
Rich,
did an amazing job.
I hope you're listening. You did such a good job.
Yeah.
It was all his idea, all his planning. They did not the gun show part, but the symposium part. And I think the symposium greatly added.
Added bonus,
to
and it was
show.
included in the price of the ticket.
Yes, totally free.
Absolutely.
$15.
How come you don't have a thumbprint on or a high thumbie on your hand?
A what?
We
Because I took
came
a
in
shower last night, Dave.
Not me, man. I'm keeping that. That's a badge honor. Just doing one of these.
It was very, very cool. There are a couple of hiccups. I think we'll talk. We have a couple of open segments. I think we're going to talk about some of the hiccups.
And you know what else I didn't notice? And I looked.
What?
There was no protesters.
No
I
protesters.
know. I was looking.
There was a Harley
was looking.
Davidson 1995 Fat Boy that I wanted, but other than that, there were no.
I will say
protesters.
this: I got 99.99% of the feedback was, "Wow, this is great. Hey, I just came down here for support you guys. I didn't even need to buy anything. I just heard and blah blah blah." A lot of people heard it from the radio show or heard it from the gun owners radio
and
email
KUSI.
list. KUSI got some folks that said, "Hey, you're the guy. I just saw you this morning. I'm only here because of." So we did a good job promoting so many positive comments. I just want to say one thing though: the very tiny percentage I don't understand if you're pro Second Amendment and you're going, nah, this show didn't have exactly what I wanted it to have. It wasn't as big as I think it should be. What are you doing, man? Like,
they're
committing
the same thing at Golden Corral.
Golden Corral.
How come they don't have mahi? There's always somebody out there that's going to complain.
I would just say, hey, look, guys, I get it. I wish we had the ultimate gun show. I wish it were a mile long. I would just say, just consider the fact that there are a lot of very passionate people putting together, a lot of, through hard work, putting together the best show we possibly can. Just, number one, if you can't support it, pipe down.
Yeah, if you can't say nothing
don't
nice,
say anything
don't say
negative,
anything else.
But number two,
Yeah.
it's $15. Just go check out some
Wait a
guns
minute.
and hang out
Wait
some
a
gun
minute.
people.
For 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, if they go online, they get that coupon. It's only 12.
Well, I know, but I
Right?
got a stamp. I was going to go today, but I had to do radio.
I parked my Jeep as far away as I could because I didn't want to take up parking, which by the way, I didn't think parking was bad, but I didn't want to take up parking. So I parked my Jeep as far away as I could to give other people an opportunity to park closer. I jump out of my Jeep Saturday morning and there's a couple getting in their car. And they said, well, if you're going to the gun show, don't bother. It's not that great. I'm like, what?
Really?
I'm like, what?
With your shirt on, it says
I'm like,
San Diego
I
County
know.
Gun Owners.
I'm like, first off, you're leaving it Saturday morning. You didn't go to any of the symposium. Number one.
you're leaving.
Number two, why are you discouraging people from going to a cool gun event? I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. Guys,
I would have pepper sprayed him.
relax, everybody. It's just, come on.
I know.
If it were like $200 and we're making a bunch of promises.
It'd be different.
Well,
yeah.
$15, $13 to Alicia's point. And we're giving you some free speakers and you get to see some cool stuff. Good
Should have
Lord.
pepper sprayed him. Hey, if you own a gun in California, you should have an attorney that specializes in California gun laws on your speed dial. Because if you ever have legal matters that involve firearms, you need California firearm lawyer John Dillon. If you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that your guns are California compliant, our trusted firearms attorney is John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Put his number on your phone right now, 760-642-7150. That's John Dillon, California firearms lawyer, 760-642-7150.
All right, so our first guest is Michael Duda from Elite CCW Firearms Training out of Orange County. Michael, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Awesome. And my son, Bailey, who's my business partner, is also on the phone with us.
Oh, good.
Hey, Bailey, how you doing, bud?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Kicking.
So why don't you guys talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, a little bit about the history of Elite CCW Firearms Training?
All right. That sounds good. First of all, we're a little father and son CCW and firearms training business located in Fountain Valley, California, of course. And we have a 4,000-foot training facility. We have our own indoor shooting range, simulator, classroom. We do live scans here. We're kind of a one-stop shop for the CCW world. And we're authorized training providers for LA, Orange, and San Diego counties. I retired from the Orange County Sheriff's Department due to a total knee replacement in March of 2020. And I started this business May of 2020. And who knew, the right place, right time. And lo and behold, every firearm was sold off of every shelf in California. And people wanted training, and people wanted to get their CCW. So we started a business exactly at the right time. And
congratulations.
We started out, thank you. We started out in a real small little office, and I was, hey, I just retired, didn't know anything about business. And here it is, like a 16-foot by 11-foot office, had a conference table and a desk and a big TV, and we outgrew that in a matter of 3 months. And then we went to a bigger office that was on the first floor of the same building, and probably 8 months later, we outgrew that one. And then, now 3 years later, we're in this beautiful facility that we have, and it's kind of cool. It's our pride and joy, and we truly can do everything right here. It's pretty neat.
How cool is that? So, what did you do for the Sheriff's Department?
I was a sworn officer. I started out in the jails, went to patrol, worked special enforcement, promoted to sergeant, went back to the jails, and then I was a patrol supervisor. And then from January 2017 to I retired, I was assigned to the CCW unit. So I was the supervisor of the CCW unit.
And you guys, what a great unit. Orange County, I got to say, I'm thinking through here. I really do think that more so than any other county, Orange County was a huge leader when it comes to issuing CCWs, how to operate efficiently. I mean, I know there's a bunch of littler counties that, you just kind of say, hey, I want a CCW, and they would just, hand it to you right then and there. It wasn't a big deal. But medium, large counties, Orange County was the first and the best, and really a huge leader over Riverside, over San Bernardino, certainly over San Diego, over L.A., definitely over San Francisco. I mean, you guys were kind of set the model. Talk a little bit about that. I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I overstating?
No, absolutely. First and foremost, we've been blessed with two sheriffs, Hutchins, and, she passed, and God rest her soul, and she's a true leader of a woman, and I'll follow her when I'm up in heaven. We'll be guardian angels, and she'll be the leader, and I follow her again. But Don Barnes, our current sheriff, phenomenal man, excellent leader. They both supported the program. They gave us staffing to accomplish the mission of getting these things out there. I think when I started at the unit, it was like about 7,500 CCW licenses were there. And when I left, there was over 15,000.
Wow.
Solano County puts on a CCW conference for law enforcement.
Yep.
And I was a guest speaker there because we were the largest unit in California, and told everyone how I ran the program, answered questions. We truly were the cutting edge of processing efficiently. And, right now, I think Orange County's up over 19,000 licensees.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Some special people up there. Melissa Soto's been up there. She's the head civilian, and she's been up there. She's the driving force right now. She taught me everything up there, and me being a gun enthusiast, I didn't say gun nut, but we were a great team, and we refined the process, and so it's been great. And
what by the way,
is phenomenal.
What year were you at the Solana County?
I think that was
conference?
2018. 2018 was the first one that they did.
Nice. And what do you? I got to tell you, when we were talking to San Diego, we finally got them to change and start issuing. I just like, hey, go ask Orange County what they're doing and do that. Like rather than sit here and try to reinvent the wheel, they're nailing it. So just go talk to them, and for the most part, they did. But what do you guys? What was like? What's something successful you guys did? Something you guys implemented, and you were like, yeah, that made the process smooth.
So what really helped us is when we rolled out the Permittium software, the online application process. We no longer had to carry around files and boxes. I used to, have boxes in my office stacked with just application after application. Well, now they're all on a laptop. So that really helped with the efficiency. But it's just the effort of that whole crew up there. We had what was called extra help staffing when I was there. That's people who retired, sergeants, investigators, a couple deputies, and they were top notch. And so handpicked, they worked like half, I think they could work up to 960 hours a year. And they were just, the cream of the crop. So it made the whole process so easy. They're willing to work. The knowledge they had, it just made it so simple.
That's awesome. Congratulations. It's very cool. Now, you were an officer. You were a deputy. I don't know. You guys officers or deputies, or is it offensive to call a? You were a deputy for your career, which is awesome. Thank you so much. But that doesn't. My question.
A sergeant.
Excellent. You're a sergeant.
There you go.
You worked for the sheriff's department. You were a law enforcement officer. That doesn't guarantee that you're going to be a gun enthusiast. I think a lot of people think that law enforcement are all into guns, and it's not really the case. What got you into firearms, and why?
Well, I had a passion ever since I was a kid. My dad, the first pistol I ever shot was his Colt Python, and after shooting that thing, I was hooked for life. But I was in the Army for 12 years, and I shot pistol competition, IPSC back in the day, and then at the Sheriff's Department, the training we go through. But you're absolutely correct. Not every cop is a gun enthusiast, and there's a big difference. And some of them are phenomenal at solving crimes, but they're not they won't talk to you about every model and shooting fundamentals. They're not experts there. But I happen to be, I guess, the proper way to say is a gun enthusiast, not a gun nut. But yeah. I truly love shooting, taught my son to shoot at an early age. He's a high-level competitor now. It's just, I couldn't be more proud of a father to have a business partner that's my son and him be so successful at what he does.
That's awesome. Hey, isn't Barnes a competitive shooter?
Barnes is a gun enthusiast. He shoots. I'm certain he's shot competitions. He's not your average shooter. If you look at his duty rig, you'll immediately see his gun. It's got a mag well, everything. He is not your average shooter for sure.
It's definitely not your average sheriff. You're not your average gun owning sheriff. I mean, you don't see a lot of sheriffs walking around with hot rod rigs and magwells on their duty weapon.
Exactly.
Good for him.
He's a phenomenal sheriff. He supported our unit the entire time I was up there. And I want to say the approval rating for a CCW permit in Orange County is like 99-point-something%.
Yeah, you guys, I know I was at a meeting years ago. You were probably there. You were probably heading up the meeting. It was all the instructors were invited to come, and there was some information and that sort of thing. And I understand that you guys actually issued a permit in like a day. Like the guy showed up, he had already taken the class, he had all the paperwork, he had everything ready to go. And if I remember, maybe I'm not remembering this correctly, but he basically showed up at like 9 a.m. and whoever he was working with said, well, do you got time? And they went and worked on the file and issued it like the same day. Is that right? Am I making that up?
So what did ended up happening with the online program, if someone was smart enough where they got their training done, their live scan done, got all their documents that are needed for the application. So if everything was completed, my interviewers the investigators would come to me and say, hey, Sarge, I got a completed packet right here. Well, why make this guy come back and have paper and go walk through the lobby again? Let me just review it right now. It's about a 10, 15-minute review, go through everything, and I would approve it on the spot.
There you go.
Yes, we were able to do that.
Hey, Orange County Gun Owners is dedicated to preserving and restoring Orange County self-defense rights. If you live in Orange County and want to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, you just need to join. So join OCGunowners.com/join. Orange County Gun Owners is the organization to help get more pro-Second Amendment officials elected. So become a member today. OCGunowners.com/join.
So we're talking to Michael and Bailey Duda from Elite CCW Firearms Training up in Orange County. Fantastic place. So talk about, you said that one of the things, it was kind of perfect timing because you guys started your shop and then COVID happened. So talk a little bit about that. What was that like for a firearms trainer when COVID kicked in?
It was tough. You had a lot of people who were still very reserved to come to a group class. Luckily, the group of people that seem to want to be in the gun, they're supportive of the gun industry. They are people who they came in. There's, we took everybody's temperature. There were masks always available, and we never had any issues with anybody, mask sickness or anything like that. So it worked out okay. And believe it or not, it just every week it got busier and busier. And it's I think a lot of people were afraid of the unknown. What's going to happen here?
And there was a lot of noobs, a lot of new people.
Absolutely. And what I would tell everyone is, believe it or not, there were a lot of females who were interested in getting their CCW permits, and still to this day.
It really is. We do these shooting socials every month, especially down here in San Diego. And between, usually about a dozen people, it's just an opportunity for activists to meet with new folks. And it's not really a class. I tell people it's not a class. It's not a 101 class. It's like an intro to. And the idea is we just kind of give them a first-time shooting experience and then, try to get them to a professional, half-day or full-day class, whatever they can do. It's amazing. So we used to do 1 month. First, we would have special shooting socials that are just for women. And then we'd have general classes, and then we those were so successful that every other month was just for women. Now I can't even tell which ones are just for women and which one aren't, because 3/4 at least of the people coming through the shooting socials are women, and we're not targeting women. We're not, marketing to women. We're going to look back on these last few years, and it is going to be, I think we're headed towards, 50-50 men, women when it comes to gun ownership. I think it's great.
Absolutely. And I just hope your audience realizes what efforts you guys are putting forth to educate people, new gun owners, even, as well as I know that sometimes people who have owned guns for a long time, they don't have the fundamentals down pat. They may be a good shot, but they got to still know the safeties of handling it and, laws of self-defense, castle doctrine, when you can use deadly force. All these things are so important.
So let me ask you, okay, somebody gets a CCW. I guess I don't care if they're a new gun owner or they've been a gun owner for 30 years or whatever. They get a CCW. You got to renew every 2 years. What would you say is the minimum they need to train just to be a responsible CCW holder? You know what I mean?
And that's very subjective. As a business owner, I'm going to say, hey, they should be training every 2 weeks. But obviously, that would be great for me. But I would tell you this, and everyone should know that anything firearm related, knowing the laws or even the fundamentals of shooting is so perishable. And that just means that you go shooting once a week just to the range and shoot a box of ammo. You skip a month and go back. It's like, wow, what's wrong with my gun? The sights must be off. No, your fundamentals are off. And I would say somebody should be training without a doubt at least once a month. I mean, keep those skills fresh. And that goes as far as like we give a handout that's basically our whole curriculum, and read through that and keep those skills and knowledge, because the last thing we want ever to happen is if somebody was in that unfortunate situation, they have to use deadly force. They don't want to hesitate, because if you hesitate, that gun can be taken away from you. So we want them to be, up on the knowledge and the skills. So I would say at least once a month.
Once a month. I broke down, we give these how to get your CCW seminars, and I kept encouraging people, hey, you got to get training, got to get training. And I noticed that, and I'm curious what your feedback is on this. I think that maybe too many people, when you say, hey, you need to get training, hey, you need to take a class or whatever, but like 90% of them think all we're talking about is marksmanship. And so I was trying to think of a way to, encourage people to broaden the amount of training that they take, or the types of training. So I broke training down into 4 different categories. Marksmanship, which is, hitting the bullseye. And then a section I call the basics, and not just the basics of, well, this is a trigger or whatever, but also, basics like, well, what kind of holster should I buy? What kind of gun belt should I wear if I'm going to be wearing a 6-pound, that kind of the basics of the, the equipment and the basics of the, just the lifestyle of carry. Third is the legalities, where you can carry, when you can use lethal force. And then fourth is really more of an intermediate or advanced, and that's, movement, how to move in a gunfight, how to do this, that, and the other thing, pieing corners and that sort of thing. What do you think about that? Do you think we have too much emphasis on, or I don't know, I don't want to say we have too much emphasis on marksmanship, but how do you think what's an effective way to broaden the type of training that folks think about when they think about training?
Well, and you know what? Those 4, basically the marksmanship, basics, legalities, movement, that's great concept of the breaking it down into categories. I feel people definitely feel all I got to do is keep shooting and be a good shot, and I'm a good, responsible gun owner. And that's a little bit off. And what you're saying is 100% correct. The equipment is subjective, not what holster works good for me might not be good for someone else, but you definitely got to always keep up on it. And make sure it's still serviceable. Make sure that it retains the weapon.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Legalities, again, it's perishable. We teach innocence, imminence, proportionality, avoidance for self-defense. And if you're not staying up on that, you're going to forget it. And you got to have all 4 of those components to be able to claim self-defense. So you better stay up on the legalities. And especially here in California, they are trying to restrict where we can carry it. So those prohibited places and things like that, they could change. But luckily, they didn't even get the votes for the state assembly bill 2, but there's other things, or 918 they didn't get, but now 2 they're trying to pass. So hopefully there'll be an injunction, and I'm sure you guys will spearhead some knowledge on that one coming up.
Stay tuned, everybody, for that.
Yeah.
We're already working on it.
Yeah, and then for movement, just because you can shoot doesn't mean it's kind of like, what's that old saying, be able to chew bubble gum and walk? Well, it takes a lot to be able to be safe while you're moving. And, we provide classes like that. Luckily, we have our own range, so we get to actually start moving down range, taking cover. But one of the things I think everybody should work on more also is awareness. Got Colonel Cooper's color codes of awareness. We got to be aware of our surroundings at all times when we're carrying our guns. And I just can't stress that enough, because if you're aware of your surroundings, most of the time you can avoid a pretty bad situation because you are aware.
That's a really good, maybe I should add a fifth, like awareness and de-escalation or something like that, because that is an excellent point, and it doesn't quite fit in my four categories. And it's so crucial. The only gunfight you win is the one that you avoid getting in, right? Is that the saying?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be criminally arrested, and you cannot be civilly sued. One of the funny things is I always tell my class, hey, guys, I hate to break some bad news to you. When you get your CCW, you don't get a badge and you don't get a cape. You're not a cop and you're not a superhero. You're going to use that CCW to protect yourself and your immediate family. The liabilities of you going out and trying to be a superhero is just far too great for any person to do.
You know who does a really good job, who really clarified that well? I heard him talk about that, and he put it in such clear terms, which is unusual for an attorney to do. Steve at Artemis was given a
Steve and Sandy have been my friends for a long time, and he does a good job.
He does. I heard him say that all a CCW does is exempt you from transportation law, like firearms transportation laws in California. It doesn't change lethal force or any of that other stuff. All it does is say, hey, that gun that you normally would transport, unloaded and locked, you don't have to transport it unloaded and locked anymore. That's all it does. And I thought, man, that is crystal clear.
Yeah.
And
he does a good job.
It's so simple. He does do a good. He's a good dude. Both of them are fantastic. So, what do you think about SB2? Making everything a sensitive area.
My opinion. I'm a strong supporter of shall not be infringed upon. So the whole idea is that you can bear this weapon to protect yourself and defend yourself. And they're just trying to, any narrative that a firearm is used in a good manner, they're trying to take that away, because it truly is an equalizer. The 70-year-old person is just as strong now as that 20-year-old trying to rob them and beat them, and it's ridiculous that they're trying to make it where you can't carry it anywhere. If there's a liquor store in a plaza, you can't have a gun anywhere in the parking lot, or everywhere that you need the gun, they're saying you can't have it there. And wow, it's just unbelievable.
Hey, do you have time? Can you do one more segment?
Absolutely.
Okay, hang out then.
He wants to go shoot in the range. Too bad. You have to stay here with us. Have you ever wanted to get a pilot's license?
Yes.
Well, here in San Diego, pilots can fly almost every day, which makes San Diego one of the best places to learn how to fly in the world. Learn to fly with San Diego Flight Training International. Check out the deals just for gun owner radio listeners. For 1 hour of ground school, you get 1 hour of flight with an instructor. Yes, you get to fly. Normally, that's $400. But for radio listeners, it's $350. You can get started real easy. Just call them at 858-569-1822. Learn to fly with SDFTI, 858-569-1822.
So we're talking to Mike Duda from Elite CCW up in Orange County. So we were talking about SB2. SB2, for those who haven't heard, is a proposal in Sacramento that will essentially make everything outside of your home a sensitive area, so even somebody with a CCW won't be able to carry there. So right now you have some sensitive areas like schools and courtrooms and airports, the secure part of the airport. You can't carry there no matter what. What they're trying to do is what the result of SB2 will be is to make grocery stores and movie theaters and doctors' offices and malls and parking lots and McDonald's and fast food and retail, every place you can think of will be a sensitive area, so CCW holders won't be able to carry and defend themselves outside of the home. Mike, do you think, do you think the world is a better place with more CCW holders?
Oh, I absolutely do. You got to remember, it's people years and years ago when they were, it was crime wasn't every corner. Okay, people had CCWs, and never in history have CCW holders been the problem.
Yeah.
So us having more of them, people are going to think twice when the news says, "Hey, the guy with the knife trying to rob somebody, the threat is stopped." We never shoot to kill; we only shoot to stop the threat. And when the threat's stopped, hey, that gun worked. And they're going to start thinking twice, especially look in Orange County. We're going to probably be cresting 20,000 here really quick. And compared to 3.1 million citizens, it's still a needle in a haystack. But people are going to start thinking, holy cow, is that going to be an armed person? Or when I go into that store to rob, is there going to be an armed person? Statistics show the states with constitutional carry, crime is lower than states like ours that are very restrictive. So I think definitely we will become more and more safe as more permits are issued.
Well, I think, the COVID, and then shortly after COVID started, the BLM riots, it kind of cut through the political rhetoric. And what I mean by that is, you had all this, the political rhetoric, like, well, all these myths and, crap that they talk about with guns, like, well, gee, if you have a gun, you're more likely to shoot somebody or whatever. All these ridiculous myths that they would, soil the world with. When things got dangerous and scary, everyone, I don't care who you were, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, commie, I don't care. I don't care what your party. When things got scary, people went, I need a gun. I need a gun. It cut through all the political rhetoric, and people knew, logically, instinctively, they knew, hey, you know what? If I'm in danger, I want the most effective self-defense tool ever created by man, and that is a firearm. And boom, the gun shops were flooded. That's why you saw all the new folks saying, all right, I got this gun. Now I need some training. Which, by the way, I think training in general has gotten far more popular in the last 5 years than it probably ever has been. And I think that's an enormously good thing. I mean, 10, 15, 20 years ago, honestly, 20 years ago, you couldn't give away a one-day class, here's a class on firearms, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now, everybody's taking training, and I think that's great. I think it's wonderful. But I think a lot of it has to do with the general population, like I said, seeing right through that political BS and going, hey, you know what? I want to be safe. I want to protect myself. The best way to do that is to be armed.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Do you think that law enforcement, now, are you the norm in law enforcement? Do you think deputies and cops and law enforcement and, do you think that they generally are in favor of a lot more CCWs or 50-50, or what do you think the breakdown is?
Oh, I think it's definitely the preponderance is more in favor because, number one, cops know these guys are criminally vetted and they got to go through a background check that's almost as bad as the cop getting hired. Even some of the, like Long Beach requires the same psychological test that a cop has to pass.
Right.
So,
that Minnesota personality test or whatever. Is that what we're talking about? That MMPPMPM or whatever?
Yes.
I don't remember what it is.
So they got to pass everything like that. But most cops know. And then, hey, staffing isn't in abundance. So that cop probably realizes when they're in trouble on the side of the road getting their butt handed to them, who's the one that's likely going to stop? A CCW holder.
Right.
Arizona, there was the cop out on the highway in a fight for his life. Who stopped the threat in that situation? A CCW holder.
It really does bother me. I got to tell you, some of the best people in your neighborhood are going to be gun owners. And I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence, and maybe I'm totally biased, or maybe both. I don't know. But, I mean, we really truly seem to be the pillars of society. I've met just some of the very best people I've ever met, doing Second Amendment activism. And I just think it's great. It's so wonderful. And this bias that, the media portrays, it's got to go. It just has to end. I mean, we're some of the best folks in the world. We're some of the we're like I said, we're the pillars of society. What would you like to see if you could wave your magic wand and get rid of one gun law or change one thing about guns in California? What would it be? What do you think the biggest problem is right now?
Misinformation.
Yeah.
Wave that wand.
What's like the number? Give me some examples. What's your biggest pet peeve when it comes to misinformation?
Well, look at the assault weapons ban. Okay, the government put up a report that said that a .223 at 15 yards would blow somebody's head off their shoulder. If they're shot in the arm, it would dismember them. If they're shot in the torso, it would put a 5-inch hole in them. A .223, as you know and I know, is less than a quarter of an inch in diameter. It will never do that. But to the person who doesn't know anything, the government's saying it, Bonta, right, for the lawsuit on it,
right.
And they're giving this misinformation. I think whoever wrote the report was watching the Call of Duty video game, and in that it takes somebody's head off. But somebody who doesn't know anything about guns would say, that's got to be true. They said it. And unfortunately, our media does not tell all the good that guns do. But they are so quick when a person who has a mental health issue uses a gun badly, unfortunately, that's publicized big time. But all the times that the guns are used in a good manner and save somebody, that's not, they don't put it out there.
So being a law enforcement professional, what do you think? I can't solve the entire world's problems on the phone here today, but if there was one thing you could do to improve, mental health, what do you think needs to happen? Like, how do we, what needs to happen so that people who are going through a mental health crisis, don't do something horrendous?
Well, my knowledge of it, I think it actually started back with, unfortunately, Ronald Reagan. He stopped the funding for a lot of state mental, or the funding for institutions. So, people that need help, and the problem though is when you give them help, they'll start stabilizing, and then, hey, I don't need my medication no more. They leave a facility, and now they're going back down. We got to figure out a way of getting those who want help. But there's a difference of someone with a mental health issue and someone who just has an ideology of wanting to live on the street and do drugs and have everyone else do stuff for them, and they can live wherever they want. That's a problem. And, mental health it's there, but we can't make it the excuse that everybody suffers from mental health, because it's not true. And I can tell you in law enforcement, we offered help to people. Hey, I can get you in a place, get you off the street. No, I don't want to go. And that's where the advocates for the homeless will differ. I'm telling you, my experience has been when I offer help to people, they don't want to take it. And then how do I can't force them to, hey, let's get you off the street, get you a meal, get you some medical attention if you need it, talk with a counselor, and get you the help. Nope, I don't want to go. We can't force them. They're not gravely disabled.
I can't imagine being a law enforcement officer these days in California with the enormous mental health issues we're having in the public, with the the drug issues that lead to the mental health issues. I can't imagine I seriously don't know what the answer is. I got to tell you, I know the answer to just about everything. I'm enormously brilliant. Just ask me, I'll tell you. But that's one I'm stumped. But hey, Mike, if people want to train with you and learn from you and support you and get to know you and buy you beer and come hang out with you, how do they find you?
EliteCCW.com. We're in Fountain Valley. We're on Instagram, Elite CCW Training.
Go ahead and spell that.
It's Elite, ELITE
Okay.
.CCW.
All right.
You want him to spell CCW, Dave?
No, I think I wrote that down. But I got to figure it out. I think what we should do is anytime media lies about gun laws,
Yeah.
their head explodes. It only has to happen once.
Every time they lie, my head explodes.
I know,
so
but
it's
if theirs
about time.
did, guess what? They wouldn't do it again.
Mike, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
man.
you so much. It was really great talking to you, and I'll talk to you very soon, okay?
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys at Gun Owners Radio. We truly appreciate the support that you guys give the Second Amendment community, and your efforts are greatly appreciated, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, man.
We work hard. Inland Empire gun owners strive to be the ounce of prevention in the fight for your gun rights. How do they do it? They do it by fundraising and getting local pro-gun candidates elected. Become a member today. Go to iegunowners.com/join and join the growing number of responsible gun owners stepping up to defend our Second Amendment rights. That's iegunowners.com/join. Hey, we got some winners.
We got all kinds of cool stuff.
Do we really?
Subscribe and win. Subscribe to our email list and win some swag. Is it swag or is it swag?
I get swag.
Swag?
Yeah.
Stuff.
Gear.
Win some stuff. This week's winner, and by the way, Andre Ochoa. Andre, if you're listening, email prizes at gunownersradio.com to claim your T-shirt or hat. If you want to win, or at least qualify to win, possibly, go to gunownersradio.com, join our email list, and we'll give you some cool stuff. Or at least we'll enter you to win some cool stuff.
Right.
And then when you win, you'll get some cool stuff, which is, of course, is a T-shirt and hat. So, Gun Owners Symposium grand prize drawing. Symposium attendees got to enter at the gun show. We're actually tabulating the entries. I think the gun show ended
At 4
Today,
o'clock.
4
yeah,
o'clock.
so about an hour ago. So
we should have an answer for you in about a minute.
well, in about a week. Next week, we're going to pull a
We
winner.
were just giving Rich all this accolades.
Well, we're building the
Wait a
tension.
minute. This isn't voting.
We're building the tension.
Oh,
Don't you want to build the tension, Dave?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, everybody wants to build the tension.
I was just thinking something, but I'm not
Are we going to
gonna
tease
say
them with what the grand prize is?
it. Yeah,
The
could you
grand.
do that?
Okay, so prizes include. You could actually, I guess, you could win at least one of all these grand prizes. There's a bunch of grand prizes. So Franklin Armory, Franklin Armory. Say that 10 times fast. Stepped up big, man. Franklin Armory. Thank you guys so much. They offered up a CA7 AR pistol. So they're like the only AR pistol on the roster. Pretty sure. And they slid in like at the midnight hour there, right at the last second. Mm-hmm. So if you want an AR pistol and you want to purchase it from a shop, go to Franklin Armory and they'll help you out.
Got to win it first.
Well, and you can win it.
We're giving one away.
Gunsight Academy 143-day pistol class. That's hundreds of dollars.
It is.
I don't know how much. Do you think
lot.
that costs?
Thousands.
3 days. I think it is. I think
it's at least $1,000.
It's at least $1,000. So that's actually, as far as money goes, that's
Where's
more
that?
Where's
Where's that at?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Cool. It's even more expensive than the CA7. The 3-day class is more expensive than the AR pistol, I think. Another thing you could possibly win: 2 tickets to Gun Prom.
Sitting at your table?
I don't know, maybe, probably.
You ought to.
Yeah, why not?
Come on.
You won't see me. I never sit down at those things. Actually, this year I might be able to sit down with Gail running it and everything. 2 tickets to Gun Prom. Gun Prom's happening September 16th. That is coming up. We're gonna. You can actually purchase tickets now if you go to gunprom.com. You can purchase tickets. We've already had a couple of tables and a couple of tickets sold. Go to gunprom.com but we're going to announce it big in Thursday's email. It's at the Town and Country down in Mission Valley.
Where we were last year.
Yep, where we were last year.
Gonna have
All
lights?
kinds of fun.
We can have lights.
We definitely have lights.
Cool.
$150 Alexo Athletica gift certificate.
Is that a watch?
No. It's we've had her on before.
It's a person.
Yeah, well, it's not a person, but she makes like leggings and stuff.
Oh,
for holsters and that sort of thing. It's very cool. Super nice lady. I think isn't that the lady? I think she came out for training and taught a bunch of ladies, and we got the sheriff to give up the sheriff's range. Anyway,
Yeah, they gave it up all right.
5'11". They was actually really cool, but I was surprised. 5'11" range ready trainer bag. Very cool. Those are all the prizes. So if you went to the symposium, and the symposium, not just the gun show, but the symposium inside the gun show, and got a ticket, you could win.
And there wasn't hundreds of thousands of people.
No, it wasn't. That symposium, I thought it went really, really well. I taught 2 days in a row. I taught how to get your CCW. That was very well attended. This morning, I also taught how to be an effective Second Amendment activist. Alicia, the lovely Alicia, taught awareness. Was it just for teens?
Well, the emphasis was the intent was for teens. However, the information's applicable, to across the ages.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there was Colin gave a legal update. Colin, the attorney,
Right.
and then Mike, who he was here a couple weeks ago, wasn't he? Mike DeSargo.
He was.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about basically the CCW lifestyle and some things you could do to, be a better CCWer.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike, thank you so much. Mike got me a knife.
Did you ever get it?
He gave it to me this morning.
Nice.
Isn't
He
that
gave
nice?
you another one.
Well, he gave me the one I guess he brought that day, but I wasn't there because I was sick.
No, because Desi took it.
Well, so
the truth.
Desi was there today.
And she gave you your knife.
And Mike gave it to Desi. Desi gave it back to Mike. Mike gave it to me.
No,
This thing's
she
been all over the-
didn't.
What do you mean?
When we got it, she goes, "This is mine."
Oh, really?
I said, "You got to give it to
She
Mike.
took another one?
He's got too many."
She's like that. You
I
got to
know.
keep your eye on her.
But she loved it. She was good.
But the symposium was really, really cool. Plus, they replayed a couple of the
Shows.
Gun Owners Radio shows. The one with Clint Smith, the one with John Lott.
And I didn't get to say hi to Chauncey, but he did a good job too.
He's the best, man. Chauncey out there, if you're listening, fantastic job.
Yeah,
But
excellent.
again, I want to emphasize, Rich said, hey, we got this gun show happening. I think I want to do this symposium, and then just ran with it.
I think he
was
did a
awesome.
phenomenal job.
He really, really
He
did.
can give up websites.
You got 511 up to sponsored as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, go figure. How you pull that off?
But they're all, all kinds of cool stuff there. So anyway, you could win. Prize winners will be announced next Sunday, June 11th. Yeah,
How was the gun show?
it was awesome. Like I said,
Did we get any attendance numbers?
No, not yet, but we will. San Diego County Gun Owners had a booth there. Thank you to all the
Hard workers.
volunteers that manned that booth. But
How many did they sign up,
well, just today we signed up like 8 in one day. So I think so we had 3 booths happening yesterday. One in Ramona, one in Valley Center,
Wow.
one at the gun show. And yesterday we signed up like 10 or 12, and then today we signed up 8. So I think we're closing in on 20 people just this weekend.
Wow, that's
20
awesome.
new members.
That's awesome.
If you guys are listening, welcome and congratulations for getting involved.
Absolutely.
But everybody was so thankful. Everybody, hey, how you doing? Haven't seen you in 3-4 years. I couldn't remember when the last gun show was. Do you guys remember?
It was before COVID.
Was it before COVID?
Yeah, it wasn't during. No,
I think it was already in debate when COVID hit.
Yeah, but I mean, it was prior to COVID.
Somebody came up and they were like, I don't think we've had a gun show for like 5-8 years. And I'm like, 5 to 8 years?
I don't think it
that's
was that
right.
long.
I think it was like 3 years ago.
I think it was 3-4 at
I'm
the
going to say
most.
3. Yeah, but it was good to see a lot of old faces that I hadn't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
That was the best part of the gun show. After you
It's
go,
like going to the prom.
it really is.
You see a lot of people that you didn't normally see throughout the year for whatever reason.
yeah,
And then the ones you do see, it's like, you're into guns? I didn't know you were into guns.
yeah,
Because there's a lot of those people that were there as well.
yeah.
A lot of husband and wives, a lot of older gentlemen, a lot of younger kids.
I saw handsome Lance Pelkey.
Oh, was he there?
He was there. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I saw him walk by. I was in a very heated conversation with somebody else.
Of course you are.
Not heated. It was actually a really great conversation.
Must have had a nice watch.
Channel 8 had they came out and did a really nice piece.
Did they?
It was really nice.
I'm impressed.
The reporter was fantastic.
No
Her
hit
name's
pieces
Regina.
from any of the media?
Not even close.
Wow.
We'll send out the Channel 8 probably Thursday in the email.
Put it on there.
It's practically a love fest. I'm going to take 100% of the credit for that.
It must be the cologne. Hey, is there a better tool that empowers a woman to defend against an attacker that's 100 pounds bigger?
No.
Nope.
There isn't.
I know. What do you guys?
Is this the Q&A section of the show?
This is a Q&A.
It's a pop quiz.
I think it's a great idea.
Did I get it right?
That's why it's so important for women to learn how to defend themselves with the most effective self-defense tool ever invented. For women, led by women, the Not Me program is designed to help with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. And guess what? It's free. Sign up. Go to notmesd.org.
So we were talking about the gun show. Now I want to give a little insider info that I think a lot of people don't know, but you definitely want to hear about. So the gun show, even though it's right on the edge of East County, but it's still in San Diego, the city of San Diego.
Yeah.
Navajo
And Tommy.
Tommy, but it was
Cowles
like
Mountain.
Yeah, Cowles Mountain,
Right.
Jackson, Navajo, right in that area, which is technically still San Diego, the city of San Diego. Right. You go right across the 125, and that's like Santee El Cajon.
Right.
But it was still the city of San Diego. And the gun show would have had more FFLs, more dealers there. But Mara Elliott, the city attorney, put the kibosh on that and would not allow it. And my understanding is, and I got to look into it more, is she used some weird old law that had to do with zoning and said, well, we're allowed to regulate how many of whatever kind of business can be on a property. Now, I think, that has to do with like, look, if you have a strip mall, you don't want to have, 14 soup, sellers there. Well, I don't know. But this is not the intention. She used it because this was a gun show, and used it against.
As her only tool she had to either slow it down.
Not only that, but couldn't wear guns, couldn't carry concealed there. This was all Mara Elliott.
Can we sue her?
Well, she is such an extremist. Now, we were going to push back because this happened way late, and we were going to push back. And the guy who was organizing everything, he's like, "Look, man, we just need to get through this show. Like, we can't afford to push this back. So this is something we're going to pursue first thing in the morning, tomorrow morning, because they want to have a gun show every 60 days, every 2 months, every other.
Didn't Crossroads do that?
They were 4 times a year, so this will be a little bit more often.
Yeah,
but this Mara Elliott is such an extreme zealot, such a lunatic. That doesn't make any sense at all. You're not stopping crime. You're not preventing
by not having an F.
No, it's ridiculous. So all the stores were invited. We were going to have more
huge.
Gun dealers. It would have been cool. It would have been great. So if you went to the gun show and you're like, well, gee, there weren't enough guns, or gee, I couldn't carry, it's not our fault. That's 100% Mara Elliott. We wanted this to be, bigger and more inclusive, but no, Mara Elliott. This is not, that's why they talk, well, gee, we just want reasonable gun laws. No, they don't.
No.
That's not reasonable.
No.
That's extreme.
No.
And it doesn't help stop crime. It doesn't do anything. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But we moved forward. We soldiered on and said, hey, we're going to have this.
Well,
we're
if
gonna have
that's
a good
the case,
time.
I think we did even better.
When you know that backstory,
Yeah,
it's
because I
even
didn't
better.
have any
isn't it?
idea. I mean, I was impressed with the attendance and.
Yeah, and even the show, the vendors, everybody was, was very cool. But look at what we had to deal with.
Right.
So I think what we're going to do is I got to tell you, the venue's great.
No, don't tell us what you're going to do tomorrow, because give up your tactics.
No, not tactics. But the venue's great, and I don't know, it wouldn't be a total heartbreak to I don't know. We're going to look for another venue just to see if there's another option out there outside of the city limits.
Like Viejas.
Do you think that's too far? Because we've talked about some of the Indian casinos before.
Oh, no.
They there's laws regarding firearms there too. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Be a research topic to
A
navigate.
couple. I talked to Saquon, Viejas, and Rincon, and they were all open to the idea.
Good. Okay.
But I don't know if that's too far.
I
don't think so.
I don't think so.
If you're listening,
I drive it every day.
Really? Well, you're out in Alpine.
It's a mile and a
not too
half
far
from Viejas. Okay.
So everybody listening, email Gun Owners Radio or email San Diego County Gun Owners, and just one or two sentences. Is Saquon isn't that bad? But are some of the Indian casinos, would that be a good option for gun shows, or is that too far for you to drive? Let us know. Just keep it.
Send us to the website.
But there are all kinds of when I was on KUSI, I was talking to somebody who was there to talk about corporate real estate, and talked a little bit about there are warehouses and hangars.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of different options. They're looking for this was about 5,000 square feet.
Yeah, but you needed kind of not upstairs, downstairs, around the corner.
Yeah, it's got to be
and outdoors,
right
over here and outdoors
accessible.
over there.
Crossroads,
Unless you're going to give a map,
right. Crossroads was like 45,000 square feet.
right? But but the only thing I didn't like about Crossroads, it was like 2 pounds of salami in a 1 pound bag.
well,
but if you have, Viejas and Saquon, they've got massive, rooms and places. You can even do it. You could have done it all outdoors with tents.
Yeah, well, Orange County did that when COVID hit. Orange County just had a
Saquon
huge
just put
parking
in
lot.
just put in a massive asphalt, because they were going to do some kind of motorsports out there.
Oh wow!
And they never did it. So it'd be perfect. It's right in the back of the hotel.
It's tough to find a venue. You need all right. Just to give you an idea, this was like 5,000 square feet and like 100 parking spots.
Yeah.
Crossroads was like 55,000 square feet and like 1,100 parking spots.
Well, it's good.
So that's a huge difference, right? Mm-hmm. So anything in between there, if someone's like, well, gee, I know a place that's 6,000 square feet with 200 parking stalls. Anything in between there is usable.
What about private property?
It's all private. Yeah.
No, I mean people that live out East County.
Well, if we could find something like that. But, we can't. Here's the thing.
Volunteering your house, Dave?
No, they'll have to. If they do, they're taking a dog with them.
It can't be too much of it can't be too much rigmarole, and
and it can't really be farther than Viejas.
Yeah,
if you go any farther than Viejas, now you're going to lose them.
Yes, I don't know. The more I think about it, maybe that basically the Del Mar Fair. We used to joke that the gun show was 4 times a year when everybody from East County went out to see what the ocean looked like. It was everybody was from East County.
Better.
Yeah.
You are.
So anyway, so Nathan Fletcher's gone. Everybody's boogeyman is gone, and that guy's horrible. And it's good that he's gone. And we got to do everything we can to make sure that we replace all that passion and all that frustration. We got to point that at Mara Elliott. She is absolutely horrible.
Right.
And I think she wants to move up. She wants to run for higher office. We absolutely
can we suggest some cities that she can go to?
Yeah, really. I can suggest some places she could go to.
Okay,
all right.
Be careful.
But
we just got Ken. Saquon and Viejas is not capital N, capital O, capital T. Yeah. Too far. Look what East County folks drove to Del Mar. And East County folks are the largest attendees.
Hey, I just said that. It's like this guy's listening to the show.
I think he is.
So, thank you for that feedback.
You are really sharp. You know that. That's why you are who you are.
All right. Well, maybe that's a good option.
It's just a thought.
I think so. But it's really important. You guys really got to understand, everybody, all the effort you made to get rid of Nathan Fletcher. Of course, at the end of the day, he got rid of himself. But Mara Elliott should be nowhere near power. She's got to be out of that spot, and we really have to.
When does she go out? When is she out?
Well, she'll be up for re-election next year. So
let's start our campaign today.
Well, we got to find somebody. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you know who I heard is thinking about running?
Who?
Is Hammerling.
Oh,
John
no.
Hammerling, which That guy's horrible.
No, he can't do that.
Yeah, that's not an improvement.
Maybe we can talk Faulkner into it.
It's funny you say that. No, he's got other plans, is my understanding, which we will go into
At another time.
at another time. Well,
Yeah, we can't get rid of Schwartz now. Now he gets to KUSI when they start broadcasting. He doesn't leave until it's over. He turns around and looks at me and goes, I got to start coming here more often, man. I meet some really cool people.
they had me in at 6:00 on Saturday,
And he
So
didn't leave. I'm there.
I was done at like 6:15. Dave walks in at like 9. I'm still hanging out in the green room. Hey, how's it going?
No, I got there at 7. And I'm going, so I waited and we talked and I was getting close to my segment. I went, when do you go on? Oh, I've already been on. I really like it here, man. I meet a lot of nice people.
They should put up like a breakfast buffet.
I was just going to say, do they have good food in the green room?
No, unfortunately. Well, that's another story. I can talk to you about that off air. But that's, but no, I'm telling you, you run into some. I mean, Tommy does a pretty phenomenal job with guests.
Tommy's the best.
Yeah, you could be surprised, what you're going to get with Tommy.
Tommy's a gentleman and a
He's not a scholar.
and a scholar.
No, he's not.
He's scholarly.
He's scholarly.
So, Michael, I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Based on the Nathan Fletcher candidates
Yes.
that we have right now, I know we mentioned how it seems pretty impossible to get a gun or a gun enthusiast back into that kind of seat in District 4. But who are you really pulling out for in terms of the candidates that are running? Because I see a few names on here: Janessa Goldbeck, Amy Reichert, and Monica.
Amy Reichert.
Yeah, and Monica Montgomery. Is it Steep or Step?
Step. So those three. I actually met with Monica, and she's a very impressive lady, and I was really happy to talk to her. I don't think she's a strong enough advocate for Second Amendment issues to get the endorsement. Janessa, I met years ago, and she was right when she kind of, she was a Marine, is still a Marine. She was in the Marine Corps. She left the Marine Corps, started getting involved in politics. She was kind of on the fence, but then the anti-gunners got their hooks in her, and honestly, I think she's trying to out-left Monica, to try to get the Democrat support. And then Amy, we've endorsed before. I can tell you that we'll have an announcement on who we're going to endorse on June 12th.
Oh. So hold that thought.
So hold that thought.
Write it on a piece of paper.
I don't want to say, I don't want.
No, you don't want to say it.
I want the board to have their vote, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But at least it's not Nathan Fletcher.
Yeah. Did we ever get his permit and his?
I don't know. They won't tell me.
They won't tell you.
Well, they can't. They can't tell me. But he doesn't have a permit anymore.
No.
He doesn't have a CCW anymore. But
And he's not in the hospital.
Mara Elliott never. There's no criminal charges, no prosecution against him, no gun violence restraining order.
Unbelievable.
I know she's such a hack. She's really.
But you got to
horrible.
keep that. You got to keep that out. Let's get closer when she gets to being elected.
Amen.
Amen. Yes, folks. Mr. Schwartz is back. We just forgot to say that. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wisconsin. You didn't bring any nooskies.
No,
Did you eat any?
Skis.
Did you eat any?
I didn't. We didn't eat any new.
Yeah, you're eating Mexican food in Wisconsin.
It was
At a
good
dry
Mexican.
cleaner.
It was not.
It was good. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, Denny's spaghetti is
No,
good too.
I'm telling you, this was the place. Nachos is called, and Nachos Mexican food, and the staff would.
Were they Mexican?
Yes, very Mexican.
Okay, well then
So
we'll let you slide.
it was really delicious. It was funny because he took me to a Mexican place in Wisconsin. That's funny.
That is.
But it was good. It was good.
You can also keep your shirt clean while you're there.
Yeah. A lot of companies waste an enormous amount of money on marketing.
Speaking of,
And the design is excellent. The photos are great. Website looks great on your phone, but it's not getting any customers. Why? Because you don't have the words that make people buy. But now you can fix that. Fix that with Sage Tree. Sage Tree can help you find the words that make it easy for your customers to understand what you do and how to buy from you. Stop wasting money today and schedule a call. Getting started is easy. Visit sagetree.com and click on the schedule an appointment button. That's sagetree.com and click on that schedule a call button now.
you know what's funny about Wisconsin?
What's that?
So let's keep talking about Wisconsin on the gun show.
Yeah, let's do it.
It was so. Which first off, it's so beautiful. It was so nice, and everybody was so wonderful. But it was funny because it's very rural,
very kind,
and much slower.
Yeah.
So like here, so my dad, my dad, he needed a little help. He doesn't want to do the lawn anymore. He wants to get somebody to do the lawn. It's kind of a big.
How old is he?
He'll be 82.
Thank you very much. Take away the lawnmower.
So he needed a couple things, like the gutters and mow the lawn and blow the leaves and everything. And it's kind of a big property. It's not huge, but it's not like a 10-foot by 10-foot lawn. It's it was a job. So in San Diego, you'd at 8 a.m. you'd Google, 9 a.m. you'd call, and 10:30 they'd be there,
right,
with a crew,
right.
Here, or in Wisconsin, I should say, it was like it took like a couple of days to kind of talk about what needed to get done.
Do you really want me to cut
your
grass?
And then it took about 4 or 5 days to kind of decide, and then it took 4 or 5 days to find someone, and then it took a couple of days. Now, by the time he got there, dude was great. He was wonderful.
Yeah.
And he did everything, and then he went fishing off the dock and pulled some. He said, "Hey, do you mind? I need to borrow a bucket. I want to catch some of your fish off the dock, and I'm gonna stock this pond in my house with some of your." Yeah, sure, go ahead. It was awesome. It was really
Your
great.
dad lives on a lake.
Yeah, it's a beautiful lake.
And you haven't moved.
I know. Well, that's
the water was too cold.
This cottage has been. It's been
in the family.
It's been in his family. It was his aunt's cottage, and it's been in the family for almost 100 years. Almost 100 years.
How big was it?
It's little. It's not big. My dad built a 2-car garage with an apartment on top, and that's it's probably about maybe like a 1,200 square foot apartment. But then the cottage is it's little. It's a little 2-bedroom, little wooden, creaky cottage with a stone. It's got this stone fireplace that's amazing and beautiful. But it's on this sizable. It's not a pond. It's a lake. No gas motors. So it's this nice, quiet little rowboat. You can
sailboat.
Man, I went out there. I think what it is when I got there. There was a big pile of snow in one of the parking lots. Okay, and this was like 3 weeks ago.
What is that stuff?
It melted, and I didn't see any more snow. But the snow had just gone away. And I went down to the dock. I bought a couple of camp chairs, and I put one down on the pier and one, up by, so I could, And so I went down to the dock, went down to the pier, and there was like a chorus of fish hanging out there. Really? There was little juvenile bass,
and you could just look in the water, and there they were.
They're like all 24 fish just hanging out looking at me.
Yeah, and they were waiting for you to feed them.
They actually did. I fed them a little bit. They didn't like the 7-grain
the Nuskies.
They didn't like the 7-grain wheat toast or whatever the hell else run on there. So all these fish, there's a bluegill. There's a lot of bluegill. There were some juvenile bass,
trout.
I don't know if I don't think I saw any bat or any trout, but I did see a northern, which is a big honking fish. I saw a juvenile northern hanging out. But there were all these fish just hanging out. Now I think the reason they were I've never seen them so close like that, and I've never seen them so organized. So maybe they were looking to take over. I don't know.
They looked at you and they got real hungry.
Oh, it's that guy.
Like, ooh, we can gnaw on that one. Jump in the water.
So here's my theory. I think that because the water was so cold, because it was,
they were all bundled up.
I think that they were at the surface. I think in July and August, when the water gets warm again, they're gonna be deep.
Gotcha.
They're not gonna, and they're all gonna be grown up too. So you know what I want to do? I want to get a bunch of logs and lash together like a pyramid situation.
Yeah.
And then put it out on the ice. And then the ice melts and it sinks.
Yeah.
And then you got a nursery. You got a little nursery, little area for fish to
live in.
To live in, hang out,
We can charge rent.
Little fish condo.
We can charge rent.
Little side business, I'll be a little fish slumlord. Why not?
I think that's a great idea.
There was one summer I went out there and I got like a chair, like a patio chair, and I put it, and I'm like waist deep, in this patio chair, waist deep and like chest deep in water, and I'm fishing. because I didn't want to stand, And so it's time for dinner, and I leave, and I'm bleeding, like my leg's bleeding. And I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Something
It was an enormous leech.
Oh.
Enormous leech.
Oh.
And people are screaming and yelling like, oh, my God, oh, my God. And I'm like, this is my opportunity. This is it. Like this right here.
It's your moment.
It's my moment. So I got a really great video on my phone somewhere of us pouring salt on a leech. And it was like an alien, like, and like it was most amazing. Funny thing is no one would do it. I'm like,
nobody would pour the salt on.
Pour salt. My dad's like, I'll do it.
Yeah, well, Acorn didn't drop too far from that tree. That is
so he
funny.
poured salt on it. It was awesome. He poured salt on it. It was really, really cool. But yeah, we saw deer. It was beautiful. Wisconsin is so beautiful.
How far up? Whereabouts in Wisconsin?
It's like an hour south of the Upper Peninsula. It's way, way north in a little town called Minocqua.
Wow.
Which is a little island in the middle of a lake. It's this adorable little city. You remember the movie The Great Outdoors?
Yeah.
With John Candy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They went up, and Dan Aykroyd. So the guy that wrote that movie was from Chicago.
Yeah.
And he wrote the movie. That movie's based on this town, Minocqua. Yeah. People go up there and boat and, spend the summer or whatever. So it's like this little vacation town. My old man was born there in a doctor's house. I was born there, but I was born in a hospital. And it's this beautiful little town. It's really, really nice. It's really adorable.
So interesting.
So, yeah. My old man, he volunteers in the local museum, the Minocqua Museum.
Oh, as kind of like a
docent.
Yeah.
Yeah. His yearbook is in the museum. I'm like, Dad, you're a museum piece.
Yeah, right.
And they have a big train set in the basement. This is kind of nice. They have a big train set in the basement, and they needed a steam engine, to make it look, because it's like Wisconsin. It's Minocqua circa like 1890 or whatever, right? This train set, and kids come in and they get to see the train set, whatever. So my dad bought them a steam engine. They needed a steam engine that was circa 1890 or whatever. Yeah. Bought it, and the guys that set it all up, they painted it, and they put my mom's name on it.
Oh,
they put because my mom passed away last year,
right?
So they put my mom's name on it, and 79, which is how old she was when she passed away.
That was cool.
That was nice. And I was
taking any pictures.
I did. I took some pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you some pictures. I took pictures of the engine actually. And then I was talking to this lady one of the other docents. This nice little old lady, and she went to she actually went to high school with my aunt. I found out. And so I got a couple of stories about my aunt and my grandmother was kind of an interesting lady, so she got some stories about it. Anyway, Wisconsin was beautiful. It was a lot of fun. My old man's doing great. He's going to come out here. He's going to be on our Father's Day show.
Ah, how fantastic is that?
I think we're going to, if you're listening, we're going to put a mic in front of you and we're going to have you say a few things on air. I don't know what we're going to talk to you about, but we'll figure it out.
I want to see if he has a new ski accent.
He doesn't. He doesn't have a Midwestern accent.
Really?
I don't know.
Let's just leave him home. There's no sense having him out if he's not fun.
I think his mom was a teacher, and I don't know. He very
smacked him around if you had an accent.
Well, I think he's just he's very articulate and very
He enunciates. Didn't you say he was the smartest man you've ever met?
He is the smartest man I've ever met.
And then there was Sam.
Well, the acorn didn't fall too far.
That's where he got those genes. So my dad doesn't know more about nuclear, or I should say, I don't know, astrophysics than an astrophysics scientist. He doesn't know more about, whatever, but he can have an intelligent conversation with any expert about anything. Really? And he knows a ton. He truly is the smartest guy I ever met.
That's amazing.
And that's exactly where Sam gets it from.
Oh, yeah. And I tell people all the time, it's just, and I always tell guests, I was okay, now you're going to ask the question. Do not try to get him to laugh because it's not going to happen. He'll embarrass the hell out of you.
I told my sister, I saw them, I was back east a couple years ago, and I looked over, and Sam went up to his grandpa, my dad, and they, hey, how you doing? They talked a little bit. And I told my sister, I said, you remember that scene in Star Trek when old Spock met young Spock?
Boy, is that
So
an analogy.
that's exactly.
Yes, he reminds you of Spock. Very intelligent, very matter of fact. And if you want, humor is a waste.
Well,
But I bet he's got a sense of humor.
well, my old man,
No,
Sam? No, he doesn't.
Oh,
On occasion, he's throwing one out there.
He's actually very funny. My old man and Sam both have a great sense of humor.
I bet put those two in the same room.
Well, you'll get lectured. You'll know more about something, whatever
you
they decided
wanted
that
to
you
know.
ever imagined.
Yeah, the gun prom is right around the corner.
Gun prom.
And tickets are on sale. You can join San Diego County gun owners and the rest of the Second Amendment community at the Town and Country in Mission Valley. Get your fancy suits and dresses, cowboy boots and hats ready to join other like-minded people that believe in the right to self-defense. The Second Amendment dinner is coming up on September the 16th. Get your tickets now and reserve your spot for a night with great people, great food, drinks, all for a great cause. Go to gunprom.com to get your tickets now. Buy a table. Bring your friends and family. That's gunprom.com. Buy your tickets today, and the raffle prizes will blow you away.
You know what it is? We were just talking off here. Please, by the way, go to gunprom.com. We were just talking about somebody who ran for office. We're not going to say his name.
No.
Somebody who ran for big office.
I looked him up.
Don't say his name.
Okay.
Ran for, I don't want to bash the guy, but he ran for a
Super
big
nice
office.
guy.
It's not like he ran for like dog
Governor.
catcher. Yeah, he ran for governor. And he had he was nowhere near experienced.
No.
And I was telling Dave, that stuff frustrates me.
But his
Dave.
passion was there.
And that's great. But, so you're a car guy.
Yeah.
Imagine if one day somebody who had never raced a car before.
Says, I'm going to win Indy.
Yeah, I'm entering NASCAR. I'm going to take my Toyota Corolla.
And I'm going to enter NASCAR. No, you're not.
But it's almost offensive, right? I mean, all these guys train so hard.
And he made shirts, and he made hats, and
I'm like, come on, man. Try to move the ball forward, not do some
don't sit
vanity run. Anyway,
What
are we doing here?
I think we're going to talk to Sam the Gunman.
All right. It's time for everybody's favorite segment. Found out years ago that my nephew, Sam the Gunman, is extremely good at gun trivia. So we came up with a segment for him. It's called Stump My Nephew. So if you send us a question and we use it on the air, you get a hat or a shirt. If he doesn't get it right, then you get some kind of special prize. Sam does not hear the questions beforehand. The first time he's going to hear this question is right here live on the radio. Right, Sam?
Yep.
How you doing, buddy?
Absolutely. I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
Not bad. It's a little warm back there, I understand.
Not too far out of the usual. Nothing like what you guys experienced down there.
It's the huge.
The huge. Who's going to throw the question at him? Let Alicia?
I'll do it. I'll do the honors. Hey, Sam.
Hi.
All right. So your question today comes from Oscar from Santee. And his question is, what firearm was most popularly used by Turkey in World War I?
Turkey.
Ooh, turkey.
Sounds delicious.
Oscar from Santee. Thanks for writing in. That's in, what is that, East County?
It is.
Very good.
See, I'm learning. Oscar from Santee, thanks very much for writing in. Strictly speaking, the question should have said the Ottoman Empire because that's what it was at the time. It was not the country we now recognize as Turkey until 1923 officially. But the long arm, the infantry long arm most closely associated with the Ottoman Empire during that time period is the Mauser. They used a few different patterns of Mauser bolt-action rifle during the First World War. You'll hear people talk about the Turkish Mauser as if it's one rifle, but they did have a few different variants. I actually happen to own one. Weird coincidence. Mine was manufactured by the German Empire for the Ottoman Empire in 1918 and was likely, if not used in World War I. It could have been used in World War I, and if not, it was likely used during the hostilities that occurred as the Ottoman Empire underwent succession to become modern turkey.
Modern turkey is my favorite kind of turkey. Have you ever had modern turkey?
Yes, I have.
it's
Smothered in
old.
cranberry sauce.
It's so good. Was he right?
He was correct.
Correct. You want to read the answer?
Absolutely. So we have
Yeah, this is why I wanted you to read the answer.
General
Sam's
Just
gonna
General
fix it for
Pasha.
me. There you go. General Pasha. I like that. Thank you. Was sent to Germany to secure a purchase of Mauser M1877 rifles in 9.5 caliber after 84,732 units were manufactured, and the Turkish government changed the order to 7.65. The Ottoman Army's most modern rifle, as good as any used by any of the other great powers, was the 7.65, the M1903, which is a Mauser bolt-action rifle. This German-designed and manufactured weapon used a 5-round removable box magazine and had an effective range of up to 600 meters. It was issued to the Ottoman Army's best frontline infantry units.
So did they use this in Istanbul or Constantinople?
I believe it was still called Constantinople at the time. It was renamed to Istanbul after that. Also, Alicia, you said General Pasha, but Pasha is a title, not a name. So saying General Pasha would be equivalent to calling someone Mr. Sir.
Why do you know that?
The other two names on there were too hard for me to pronounce.
Yeah,
General
VIDINILI TEVFIK.
Tevik?
It's just like a bunch of consonants.
Well, I don't speak Turkish, so your guess is as good as mine.
Thank you.
We're just calling him the Gen.
The Gen.
The Gen. So that's awesome. I don't know why you know so much about Turkey, but that is fantastic. That's a very, very good job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You saved me having to. I think our new special is going to be gun prom tickets. Hey man, are you coming out for gun prom this year?
When is it?
September 16th.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look at my schedule and see if it works.
That sounds like a yes.
Pencil us
Fantastic. All right. What do you got as far as blogs, my friend? What's your most latest?
Actually, I want to talk about an upcoming blog post because this is important and topical and very recent, like within the past few days. Some of you might have been tracking what's been going on with the ATF final rule about pistol stabilizing braces. And I know this is less of a California thing and more of a big deal in other states because of California's gun law peculiarities that make many braced pistols already restricted. But there have been 2 injunctions granted against the enforcement of that final rule, which officially took effect on the 1st of this month. And these injunctions cover all members of the Second Amendment Foundation and all members of Gun Owners of America, because both organizations successfully filed lawsuits and got injunctions, which means basically that members of those organizations, dues-paying members of those organizations, are exempt from that rule for now until it gets its way through the federal court system. What I wanted to point out is that neither of those organizations are the NRA. Where has the NRA been? They call themselves the biggest pro-Second Amendment lobbying organization. Where have they been? No lawsuits, no injunction, total silence on their end.
That's interesting. Now, do you have an answer? Do you know where they've been? I don't really know.
No, my answer, this is based on conjecture. My answer would be they're struggling with internal power struggles and or spending all their money on Wayne LaPierre's champagne fund, like usual.
It's, I think, they took a few years ago when they got hit so hard that, it was a PR nightmare for them. It really opened, of course, they had a lawsuit and all kinds of stuff happening. It really did open up, Firearms Policy Coalition became a leader. Gun Owners America has always been a leader, but it opened up a lot of, I don't know if I want to call it opportunities, but there was definitely there was an opening for people to step in. There was a lack of leadership. There was an opening for organizations to step up and say, "Hey, we're gonna grab the baton and run with it." But I agree, the NRA has been extremely quiet. Extremely quiet. I don't know how to feel about that.
That is weird because now that you mention it, you haven't heard hide nor hair.
I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know if it's good or bad.
Well, here's an idea for you. What it does is and I'll be brief, what it does is it forces the NRA to compete for support, which is always a good thing. If if they compete successfully, then they'll come back in the running and hopefully be a strong pro-Second Amendment voice moving forward. If not, then they will be completely replaced and subsumed by FPC, GOA, SAF. They're in the position, Dave, you'll like this, they're in the position that the American automakers were in the mid-'70s once the oil crisis hit, and people realized Japanese cars were just better.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Our Japanese car, that's I'll tell you, that's a big can of worms. We could have a whole show on that.
Way better cars than U.S. cars.
Even today?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you don't have to yell at me, Dave.
That's okay. Well, you're back. Didn't bring us any new skis, but you're back.
I do regret that.
I do, too.
Awesome job, Sam. You were absolutely the best. Fantastic answer. It worries me a little bit how much you know about Turkey, but it also impresses me, so fantastic job.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me on, as always, and thank you very much, everyone out there, for listening.
All right, buddy. Hey, you take care and say hi to the family.
Likewise. Have a good night, everyone.
I even threw him that curveball, that Istanbul and Constantinople curveball.
You can't throw him a curveball.
I know. He knew it was a trick
question. Even if he was wrong, you wouldn't have known it. No, right? No offense.
True.
No offense.
How dare.
I know. It's terrible. We used to do that, too. We say, all right, we're going to throw a trivia question out. And they'll say, okay, Dave, what's the answer? Well, I don't know. I was hoping somebody would call and tell me.
That's such a gut punch. Well, even if he knows the right answer, you're not going to know. I mean, that was
neither would I, and neither would Alicia.
Lord.
Alicia would have found it out because her phone was smoking as that conversation was going on.
Thanks for watching this episode from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns and the Second Amendment. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just do a search for Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Don't forget to support our sponsors. Click on the links in the show notes and support the businesses that support your Second Amendment rights. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.